Scotland versus curling the Yellowstones, Slovakia. On sheet B, curling the Redstones is Finland versus curling the Yellowstones, Latvia. On sheet C, curling the Redstones is England versus curling the Yellowstones, Estonia. And on sheet D,
hello and welcome to the World Mixed Double Curling Championship of 2013. My name is Sarah Carlson, and once again I have the honor of being joined by the American superstar and Mel Gibson lookalike, Dean Gemmell.
Well, it's quite an honor, Sarah. Yes, indeed.
The feature game today is between Netherlands and Norway, a very important game in the C group. We are getting to the final round-robin stages in this World Championship. We have 27 teams divided into 3 groups. 2 teams will go straight through, and the thirds will battle out for who's going to come through as well. 2 thirds are going to go through. So
2 third-place teams from the rest of the teams.
Exactly. So if Norway can pick up the win, they will be straight through, and if Netherlands can win, they will definitely be in the mix, as you saw the standings there. Final, the bottom half of the C group, you see the teams here that were competing but are not going to make it through to the playoffs.
Here we see for the Netherlands their lineup. Mark Neelman is the male player. His sister Marianne Neelman is the female player, and they are coached by Els Neelman. So this is the all Neelman affair for Team Netherlands.
And the lineup for Norway is Magnus Nedregotten and Christine Skaslien. They came without the coach.
They're uncoachable. That's the reality. They are a couple, and they don't need a coach, really, Sarah, I don't think. Actually, they may have been able to benefit from one, but that's another story for another day. We see they had the draw for hammer, just as we do in traditional curling, and that was won by Team Norway. So they'll have hammer in this opening end, and we'll be throwing yellow stones. Netherlands will throw red stones. The typical shot we see in the first play of mixed doubles, because in mixed doubles it's played in teams of 4. Each team has 6 stones instead of 8, and each team only throws 5 of those, however, because 2 are placed to begin the end. The team with last rock places theirs at the back of the button. Team without last rock places theirs as a center line guard. Player 1 delivers the first and last stones of the end. Player 2 delivers the second, third, and fourth stones of the end. And those positions can change throughout a game, and we've seen Team Norway here. We've seen them change that order within games more than many teams have. You can sweep your own rock, the person in the rings, and there must be a person in the rings at the far end, or at least inside the hog line at the far end. They can come out and join the sweeping as well. We play 8 ends in mixed doubles, 46 minutes of playing time. Most teams, the pace of play is brisk, and we haven't seen time clock issues very much at all, although we did see Canada get down to 25 seconds left in one game.
And Norwegians taking turns, making sure that they can throw an equal amount of stones.
That is what we learned in the post-game interview last night when we asked Magnus and Christine what their thinking was behind switching more often than most teams. And they said that they thought by switching, they were each throwing the same equal amount of stones, and each felt as though they were making an equal contribution. So,
talking to them before the game, though, they said that they were going to stick to the plan, but in case that they were up in the game and were maybe going to need to throw a couple of doubles and triples, they were going to put Magnus in the middle because he practiced that type of shot more often. And
we have seen most teams having the male player throw 2, 3, 4, although Scotland, who is tied at the top of this pool, they have stuck with Bruce Mowat throwing 1 and 5 and Gina Aiken throwing 2, 3, 4. Norway certainly has an opportunity here after the rub on the guard there by Mark Neelman and his sister Marianne's shot being a little heavy.
Yes, Magnus is going to play the double here to sit 3. It doesn't look like he could really roll in behind cover, but still sit 3 and have them fairly spread it out will put pressure on the Netherlands to play an absolute perfect freeze. And that might not be the easiest shot in the world.
Well, you see a lot of freezes in mixed doubles play. That's certainly a go-to shot for everyone here. It can get you out of an end, but this is the first time, first hit that's allowed in the end. The fourth stone of the play is the first time you can hit. You can't even remove your own stones from play before this shot, so there are no tickets allowed, no free guard zone, just no stone can be removed from play until the fourth stone of the end. We like when teams really think about hitting on this fourth rock, especially when you have last stone, because we like to see the scoring area opened up. And what do we think of that shot, Sarah?
Well, he won't remove the red, but I think this yellow might stick if the Netherlands make another play at it, so it might end up pretty nicely for Norway too, with the forefoot quite open.
It looks like a double with jam, but I think they're going to throw with quieter weight here.
And just roll in.
And just roll in and try to keep a lot of stones in the back of the house.
That'd be a nice result.
Because I think the straight double jams. It is much like traditional curling in that the back of the house is less advantageous than the top of the house. Even more so probably though in mixed doubles. Controlling the top of the house is critical.
So won't find the inside.
But does create a barrier at the back of in the back rings. It will make it difficult to remove stones without losing some Norwegian stones as well. Magnus Nedregatten. They had a big victory last night over previously unbeaten Scotland.
Yeah, they scored 3 in the last end to win that game after a really nice shot by Magnus.
We asked him about it afterwards. He thought it was there for 2, which I would have agreed on, but he had to get it right through a hole that was there, just get it through perfectly. He couldn't actually put the stone through cleanly, but he was able to put it through enough to lie 3 and win the game.
So with that result, if they can win this game, they are definitely through to the playoffs. And that certainly is a nice shot by Magnus. Now the backing might actually work in favour of Norway, because they have that stone top of the 8 foot, so they're controlling the front of the rings, and there's a lot of things that they could catch on if Netherlands was to try and make a double somewhere here. Force them to the more difficult shot of freezing. It's probably a good thing for Norway.
Neilman's opting for the freeze here to get out of the end. Even if they manage to just sit on the corner of it, would be helpful, but they will want to be second shot. But if they can be second shot, frozen on that rock, cut down the scoring area and make it difficult for Norway to score more than 1. Mark Neilman following his own rock, sweeping it hard.
He will just paper the guard. Question is, will he now catch the top yellow?
I think he will come onto that top yellow.
Actually push it in for second shot. I think it was only third shot before.
And I think Norway's also lying third shot. I think or fourth shot, I mean. So they could hit and lie 4 here. Third shot is the Netherlands stone on the left side. Tough to tell, but I think the place stone is closer than the Netherlands stone in the back 8 foot. The placed Norway stone. The X on the stones marks the stones that are placed to begin the end. Ice maker Jamie Barassa is moving those stones around throughout the event, so they have equal wear as stones that are being used for regular play.
Norway has selected to take this away. Just a bit more weight, a bit more ice, because he's going to throw less weight at this. Try and roll in.
Can certainly apply a lot of pressure here in the Netherlands if he makes this. Shot Norway score 3 in a game against Sweden, and then go on to lose control of that game and lose in an extra end to Sweden.
And this is actually just a draw. I thought they were going to take that red out.
I did too. It looked like they were making that call. Well,
I'm not sure that was a great result.
I think it makes it more difficult to get at the red stone there as well now, slightly. And we'll see how many rocks Mark Neilman could get moving here with big weight.
Looks like at least one is going to catch on their red.
It'll actually be his sister Marianne, of course, because this is last stone. See how many rocks she can get moving. It's her mom in behind there in the coach's bench with what looks to be a large array of snacks and nutrition, but no penguins that we saw in the Canadian game.
No, and nutrition might actually help you more in a curling game than a stuffed penguin. At least that's what I would believe.
That is some curling insight from Sarah Carlson.
Yes.
That's why she'll be an excellent coach one day. She'll bring nutrition instead of stuffed animals. Not that we should cast any doubt on Jim Waite's coaching acumen with their Penguins. Anyways, nonetheless, here's this shot on the way. A big one in the first end. Need to move some granite here. The early call is whoa.
Yeah, she really wants to try and find the nose of this yellow.
Yeah, and she's going to lose her shooter for sure. And maybe, gets a really fortunate break. That was extremely fortunate. I think Mark Neilman just apologized, actually.
She rolls in, touches the button, sits for second shot. And it's not an easy one to remove.
No, it certainly isn't. And a really fortunate break for the Netherlands there. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to try to get at this.
It looks like they can see just a bit of their yellow to actually squeeze it out, but it's
with
tricky.
The intern.
I think they're just going to tap and try and score it two that way.
Very difficult because they can't move the shot rock all that much, but the staggered pair that Magnus Nedra got and left there has made this difficult. It does seem to me they might be able to punch it over with the intern, but they're going to play this out turn tap. That has some curling to do that it won't. One yellow, an end that could have gone a far less positively for the Dutch.
Yeah, Norway scores one, and because there is a lot of really important games going on today, would you care to update us on the other sheets?
Certainly can. On the adjacent sheet, sheet C, we have Estonia versus England. Estonia took a 1-0 lead in the first end by scoring one. England will have the hammer in the second end. Latvia against Finland on sheet B. Finland's up 1-0 on Latvia. And Scotland against Slovakia on sheet A. Scotland, coming off their first loss last night, is up 2-0 in that game.
I think that's probably the game we're going to want to keep an eye on. If Scotland wins, then they're going to be in the playoffs for sure. If they lose, we could have a whole bundle of teams on 6 and 2.
We can explain this a little bit more, how the playoffs will work, because it's fairly straightforward, but two teams from each group, the top two teams from each group, go directly into the playoffs. The third place teams in each group one team will go directly into the playoffs based on their draw shot challenge. The other two teams will play a qualification game to get into the playoffs.
Magnus is now playing first and fifth stone. They are taking turns like we suspected. You'll come down a bit deep, and I think we've seen this a lot of times before. It's not ideal. So Marianne Nielman, she can come around now and put some pressure on the Norwegians by having 2 stones in there and try and control the top of the house. But Mark thinks that this looks long.
Marianne trailing it, hoping it slows down. It looks like it's starting to dig in.
It's really digging in. I think that was maybe one of the cases where he thought it looked heavy from the house, and she just believed him even though she was watching the stone. Not in a bad position though. It's open so they can make a play on it and top 12 foot.
Of the teams that are in tiebreaker scenarios, not in tiebreakers yet, but have a possibility of being a third place team and in tiebreakers, Canada has the best draw shot challenge score at 197.7 cumulatively. We'll see what happens for the rest of the way with those scores. Canada, of course, will also have to win their next game to be even in the mix.
Christine finds a better place for the yellow, but she'll just push the other one back.
Certainly a better spot with her shot rock, but not so good with the one she moved. So they've gone to the 2-3-4 here, I guess, have they, Norway?
Yes, they have swapped from the previous end.
Sounds like back 8 in my Dutch.
I think you're right. You don't want to be wide there if you're Netherlands, but Mark S. He'll tap the yellow onto the pin. Norway can now protect this. They would probably want to come all the way down to protect it, to make that run back more difficult for the Netherlands.
Yeah, if they can be top 8 is an option. They can angle freeze on that one on the inside. Be good. Or just dead freeze isn't bad here.
No, really putting pressure on with some good angles. They could, I guess, also guard that red stone that Netherlands can run in and go for a steal of one.
Christine's second rock at the end, her team's third rock on its way. This looks heavy.
Calling T-line, coming down.
She's going to move it a little bit. It's a little stronger than T and over curling a bit. Magnus perhaps less than enamored with that shot, judging from the deep sigh he let out.
I think, again, kind of a communication mistake there. They should maybe try and stay a bit closer and talk, because she was yelling T-line and sweeping, and then he was answering it's not supposed to be T-line. So maybe just a misunderstanding.
And as we see her in the background heading to the hack for her next, brings up that point we made earlier about teams, the thrower staying a little closer to the house end until rocks come to rest, and then going to the hack after some quick discussion with a teammate. That rock I don't think that lacked for discussion, but it did lack for execution, slipping too far for Mark Neilman. And a missed opportunity for sure there. If he could have placed that rock right, he could have, I think, been at least second shot and in a very difficult position for Norway. Leaves an opening for Christine here. If she can lock hers into that pile, the Netherlands will start to have a challenge to score. Christine glancing down at the rock to make sure there hasn't been a theft on the way out.
You would hate to have someone steal your stone in your slide.
As you were sliding. As I said the other night, though, there are a lot of top curlers who do that. Or not a lot, but certainly a few. This needs to come down too. The Kingdom for about a foot less weight there. But the angles aren't too bad for Norway.
I think the best shot for Netherlands, if they can run that red down, as you see our Twitter hashtag. If you have any questions about the championship or mixed doubles curling, you can post them there. WMDCC 2013.
Certainly a lot of good can come from this shot if Mark Neilman can hit it on the high side. Looks like if he can hit about 3/4 of it, he's either going to set it straight onto the rock and the button or off one of the top two. I think just slightly higher than nose would be really good here for the Netherlands. It's close. And there it is.
Yeah, really nice. I believe Norway still sitting shot, but situation improving a lot from Mark Neilman making that.
Complexion of the end is certainly different than it was just a shot ago, or 2 shots ago. Magnus breathing deeply there as he sees how this end got away from his team. Magnus won a bronze medal at the 2012 World Junior Championships with Norway. Now, I'm not exactly sure what he's playing except a freeze on top of the red, I guess.
Yes. Would you think it's easier from the other side?
Looks easier from the other side, but perhaps he doesn't like the angle he'll leave with the end turn. I do like the way Magnus seems to complete his delivery before contemplating sweeping, and I think that's key. We've seen some players here jump up really quickly. I think the key is finish your delivery and then think about following it to sweep. When you played it in your play down in Sweden, Sarah, did the thrower usually follow the stone, or did you have the person in the rings come out to sweep?
Well, the thrower would probably follow the stone, and if everybody knows it needs to be swept, we'd sweep it together. A person in the house would normally come up and sweep too.
Maybe people on Twitter could ask or weigh in on what they think the best scenario is.
Well, normally, we've said that before too, the male players will have a bit more power to put on the broom, so it might be a good idea to actually have them sweeping. You could do like Canada and have Robert Desjardins just cheering on his stone all the way down.
He does tending to cheer. He was joining more as the game progressed last night in their win against Russia, an important win for them. I know when I played this format in one game at the Continental Cup, I swept most of the stones. I don't think Heather Nedwin would take exception with that, but I usually either came out from the rings or swept my own.
We're going to see what the Neilmans choose to do on this very important final stone of the second end. Could maybe score a couple here if she gets it absolutely right.
Has to leave her shooter, you know, just in the right place to outcount the one that Magnus Nedregaard just placed there. Must be close. Will it stick close enough?
It will, and they will score 2.
Very nice.
Very good
Well played.
result for them. They were in some trouble.
Just noticed that Mark Neilman added an MR on his jacket. He looks like Mr. Neilman now out there.
Well, he is Mr. Neilman out there.
After 2 ends, the Netherlands are up 2-1 versus Norway. Norway will have the hammer playing the third end, and we could update the other sheets if that is something you care to do at this moment, Sarah.
Well, I could, but none have finished playing the second end yet.
That's an excellent point.
And we already told the scores in the first end.
Our game is speeding along ahead of the others, so they haven't posted scores for their ends.
We will let you know as soon as we can.
We could make predictions and see how many of them are true without even being able to see the other end from our vantage point. But
if you want to do that, then go ahead. I can tell you that Marianne Neilman is going to play the first stone of the third end here.
It's probably more vital information for the viewers than my predictions.
Let's see if they can get this first one right. Both teams have been struggling in the first couple of ends.
Marianne Neilman just made a great shot to score 2 for the Netherlands. Her brother made a great shot on his last as well after Christine Skazlian left an opening in an end that Norway had control of. It's a well-played stone. Neilman's father is also competing in the seniors in the adjacent arena here at the Grant Harvey Center for the Netherlands. Christine Skazlian's first on the way. They've gone back to the 1-5 order.
Yes, as expected, and they're going to try and tap this situation in the rings. Looks like she might be tight, and that might actually not be the worst. She gets a good split on those guards.
Yeah, enough weight to push that red stone, a rock, beyond the center line. That's a result we do like to see. We've talked a bit on this webcast about teams playing that more often. Certainly Magnus Nedergaten is comfortable throwing big weight too, so if he has an opportunity to rearrange a house here and push some of that play to the corner behind the corner guards, that would be advantage Norway. Mark Neilman, another tall male player in the mixed doubles. We've got more tall players in this event than I've seen in a lot of curling events.
An entire basketball team out there on the ice.
At least a good 3-on-3 team.
Maybe that's why they just put 2 short people to do the commentary to make it a bit more even.
You can certainly see enough of this.
Yeah, there is a hole. They are talking about peeling the guards, but I think they're going to come through.
He could save his shooter as well.
One lonely stone coming down. It's often the case with peels. Oh, and this is going to be a good result if you can stick that behind the corner guard.
I don't know if I'd sweep it anymore if I was Christine, but Magnus didn't like it on the way down, and it works out brilliantly, actually. Allowing Norway to lie 1-2 with only one corner guard in play. He doesn't seem happy with it because it wasn't a shot they called, but it was certainly, if you're going to talk about tolerance and the way to miss that shot, that worked out very well.
And now you have Netherlands hitting that, I believe.
I think they're playing a guard maybe, though.
Yeah, I think they are.
I sort of like the hit.
Yeah, they would be sitting 1-3. They do have shot stone, so I guess guarding this is a brave option.
We have seen it's difficult to guard a single stone on ice like this that is curling a lot, and with just a single sweeper, guard's a little more difficult to manage. Certainly on the right side of that, but does give Norway an opportunity to make a play on the red stone.
Play this straight down.
So last night there was an instance when Magnus was not aware the house was arranged exactly as it was. He thought it was a little different. Big backswing here on his upweight hits. And a big extension. And he certainly frees up the red stone.
I bet removes the one on the side as well.
Does lose his counter that he'd ended up with on this side in the 8-foot.
In a more comfortable position to guard now, Mark Neilman. No yellows in the house rather than 2.
Yes, he doesn't have to consider that a missed guard might lead to a 2 or a 3.
But with also 2 yellow corner guards, a missed guard could lead to a 2 or a 3 if it means that Norway could get a good hit and roll.
Perfect guard directly in front of that one. Might have been able to be a little tighter, but
yeah, leaves Magnus now with the option of coming down and freezing tapping. Want to make sure that they're able to score. Jamie Barrasso just making sure that they handle his stones nicely.
Nice head ice technician Jamie Barrasso here. Has provided a terrific surface all week here for the World Mixed Doubles. We had a chance to have a webcast media team game or games after the late draw earlier this week. Tighter to the guard now. Line is really good.
It's really good.
Can he get it deep enough?
Not to say it's short, but surely if Christine was to be able to make any sort of contact with that on her last, they will score.
And there will be an angle run in there. I don't think the Needlemans and the Netherlands can take away that and the out-turn path to that stone that Magnus just threw. Of course, they could come in to the sit on top of that one or sit top 8. Would be a better call than the straight guard. And Neilman is a technical writer. I have long thought I would like to be able to write about technical things, Sarah.
Well, mixed doubles might be technical enough, actually.
At times it is technical. So it is the straight guard, which will leave this angle run for 2. Certainly the one with the out turn lines up better in the angles. Half a rock.
Yep, they're now playing a whole lot of weight on this. They count 11 seconds from hog to when you hit the stones. So that would maybe be 10 if you are hog to hog.
Yeah. I haven't heard Christine jump up and yell 9-7 or something like that, which we did hear from some other players, which seems extraordinary to be able to do. Perhaps impossible.
Last stone of the third end, an angle run for Christine Skoslian to score 2.
Magnus, not particularly, doesn't sound promising on this one. Actually didn't miss it by a whole lot, just a little thin. Needed to curl up another couple inches.
So a steal of 1 for the Netherlands. They will take a 3-1 lead after 3 ends. Can also tell you that the very important game between Scotland and Slovakia is tied at 2 each. Finland and Latvia 1 each. Finland with hammer in the third end. And Estonia with a 4-0 lead over England, also playing the third end, England with hammer.
So Scotland needs to win to avoid being in tiebreaker scenarios. A win would do that for them.
And Norway needs to win to avoid tiebreakers. And if
similar
Netherlands
fate.
wins, they can get tiebreakers.
Yes, so Group C certainly offers the most opportunity for tiebreaker bedlam. Marianne Neilman, 32 years old, started curling in 2008. Her mother told me she was the one member of the Neilman clan who didn't like curling all that much when she was younger. And then I believe at a European Championship went on the ice while her brother was playing and decided she had erred. And indeed, curling was something worth playing.
And now here she is, World Championship in Canada. You could certainly do worse.
And clearly she did make a terrible error there, thinking curling wasn't a game she should play. So
Magnus saying he's played Mark a lot of the times in the European Tour. He is 22, started curling 2006. Works as a curling instructor, so certainly spends a lot of time around the game.
the line seems pretty good. Like to move it a bit and free up the scoring area, which he does.
Yep, and Christine manages to turn her brush around and sweep it all the way back for third shot.
We've all done that. The brush down the wrong way.
So frustrating if you're really, really ready to sweep.
If you're really, really ready and you really need to go on one, and you hit it with the plastic on the other side. Not that effective.
Make the stone a bit trickier for Mark Neilman. Now he needs to find some perfect weight. He might be the most experienced player as far as years go. He started curling in '96, at least on this sheet today.
The most experienced, he didn't start curling on this sheet today. The most experienced curler on this sheet. That's what you mean.
That's
yes.
what I meant. I just said it in the wrong order.
That's all right.
That's why I have you.
I had it figured out, actually, and I think most of our viewers would have too. Well-positioned stone. Yeah. Certainly creates a challenge for Norway. Magnus is going to have a look at it. We'll see if you can understand what they say.
They're not saying anything.
I can understand right now what they're saying. I got the okay, but I didn't get the last part there.
The ice might swing a little bit more when we go further out, so be prepared for that.
I have to admit that was something we didn't find when we practiced on the ice, but it may be changing a little bit. This rock has some curling to do. Starting to move now. I'd love to change the angle of these.
And I think they have that yellow will now probably go down on the red rather than doubling out the yellows.
It looks like it will catch on the back red. Mark Neilman's going to come down and have a look at this with his sister Marianne. Because this format is relatively new, we see scenarios that we haven't seen a whole lot of.
Kan die nozen, de kans dat die hier tussendoor gaat. Hoe kan hem hier naartoe vriezen?
Ja.
Dus iets van een veiligheidje, zeg maar.
Ja.
Ze mogen er één hebben.
Ja.
Not sure what they're saying, but it seems like Marianne is agreeing.
Yeah, I think they're favoring a freeze of some sort. I did get that, but I'm not sure exactly where. They might be selecting to go right to the back. Well, Mark is looking at what happens if he hits that high yellow.
Nee, die schuift hoog uit dat hier natuurlijk. Speel eerst die maar.
So they're going to draw back 4.
Randje 12 denk ik bijna nog niet.
Try to bury it behind that center guard a bit.
Ja.
Well, it seems like it will just make it easier for Norway to play another freeze and sit 2.
Yeah, to be back 4. I mean, I guess they could. Those rocks in the 4-foot, the way this ice moves, you could bury behind them. Broom out almost at the edge of the 12 foot, which gives you an indication of how much this ice is moving. Mark Nealman with plenty of rotation on this, I think. He's working hard. He's going to spin around to the side of the sweeping side to resist curl a little bit more.
Yep. Yeah, calling this top 8, top 4.
Chop off and well,
not a bad result. It's making it more difficult for Norway to put a second stone in there.
I think Magnus would probably like to be throwing and perhaps give that double a run, but it's a tough one.
Så pilen tynt, hardt. Jeg ikke sikker på om det så bra.
If you could hit the red on the left very thin, catch the other red.
Jeg kan jo prøve nå. Det litt kjipt
Når du kommer hit. Dra hit.
Nå ligger jo den røde der, da.
Ja, den må eventuelt vi bruke nå, da. Hva mener du vi skal gjøre nå?
Nei, jeg vet ikke. Hva var det?
Garden. Dra hit, du.
Okay.
Talk of the hit, the guard, or the freeze to the back.
You got it. It will be the freeze to the back.
Christine Skaslin. With her team's 3rd rock at the end. They'll have 2 more to come after this.
Hvor er vi?
Jeg er ned. Bare retning.
Vær med. Nære nå.
retning.
Veldig nære. Japp.
Bare retning.
Oh. Japp. Hardt. Hardt.
Calling this a bit heavy, and he's calling for line.
Fortsett.
She's on the top.
The weight was probably there.
Litt løs, sikkert.
Just over curled, perhaps a little soft on the release. Started to move early. Angles are better again, though, now for the
Voor
Netherlands.
de laatste. Andere optie is die. Maar de spelers hebben die weg.
Ja.
We weten met je laatste doen.
Nummer dit.
Ja.
Zelfde ijs, zelfde lengte.
Could maybe hit
Nee,
the yellow
niet
that's
te zwaar,
frozen on the red.
En dan moet je hem
They're
zo goed als
gonna
nood
tap.
raken.
Ja.
Dus iets minder.
Seems to me that is available, Sarah, with the in-turn.
Nog iets?
Hit the yellow that's fully in the 8-foot.
You spill the shot yellow and sit 2.
Sit 2 with and leave your shooter in front. They did look at the slash as well. It's certainly a riskier call. But it's
Mark Nealman gonna tap his previous stone and try and make it shot.
not the easiest of taps because he has to get right to nose to hit it straight back. Hits a little high side. He's probably going to rub his own. Still might carry far enough, but not a straightforward tap.
Yep. Yep. Okay, line's good. Oh.
Mark switching the other side. The mixed doubles twirl.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of players twirl around while sweeping.
Yep, 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 yep,
And
yep,
it seems to be working for him. It's got pretty good line if he can hold it. Oh, won't quite make it to shot.
We said it was a tricky tap and the line had to be perfect. The line wasn't quite perfect, although it is looking difficult for Norway to score 2 here right now, unless they can really move some granite with this one. Magnus, I think, perhaps looking for a shot on his last, a big weight shot that might leave him an opportunity for a multiple point end. If they can get some action on these reds that are in the 8 foot and the 4 foot now, he might have an opportunity to do that. How did that shot change there, Sarah?
How did that shot change?
Right here, they suddenly moved the broom. After
They decided that she couldn't see enough of it, so they're going to bring the weight down a bit.
Gå for nå.
Christine Skazlian. That is a hard call for sweeping.
That means it's on the guard, actually. And now maybe Netherlands could make a play on that and make the yellow go away.
Magnus rarely misses an opportunity to let his playing partner know exactly what he thinks of the result. They are a couple, so perhaps that honesty will serve them well.
Well, they have been talking a lot about encouraging each other and boosting each other's confidence, and maybe need to talk about how body language can do that as well.
Your head in your hands is not often the best body language for your teammate.
I would like to see Netherlands make a play on the yellow to make the yellow go. That would leave them sitting 2.
Yeah, it's certainly available. It's not that difficult.
And this is a lot trickier.
That if they hit the yellow in the 8 foot, the yellow just biting the button springs out of there. And this tap is so much more difficult.
4 T-line.
Går den. Line is okay. Yep.
T-line.
Yep.
Saying she has T-line weight, but line is everything, as we saw on her brother Mark's previous tap attempt.
Yep. Hard. Come on. Okay.
Of course, she's right there for shot.
She's right there for shot, and we can tell you that Scotland scored 3 in the third end to take a 5-2 lead over there. If they can keep that going, they will be looking good for playoffs.
She is shot, but it seems to me that if Magnus Nedergatten hits this top red anywhere close to nose or full, it's certainly going to pick that one out of there and allow Norway to score 1. And well, that shot was really well executed. The other one might not have left him with
Litt utsida er vel greit, tenker jeg.
something as straightforward as this appears to be. We'll have to see how thick it connects with the rock that's on the button. There's the backswing delivery. We've seen Thomas Ulsrud of Norway add that to his arsenal for big weight. And there they go. And there's the single for Norway.
Norway closes in on the board, taking the game to 3-2 in favor of Netherlands. Got to see that shot again, very well executed by Magnus Nedergatten.
I think if it was a club game, we'd go out and want to see what would have happened with that other angle. Tried it.
Think we would have. 4 ends played. You see the line score right there. Netherlands 3, Norway 2. Players will have a short break, and we will be right back with a recap of the first 4 ends.
So as we reach the midway point of this game, a Group C game, the final game of the round robin between Norway and Netherlands. First end, Norway takes 1 when Christine Skazlian doesn't quite get to nose on those angled yellows. Marianne Neilman makes a nice shot in the second end to score 2, punching out the Norway counter on the button, scoring 2 in the forefoot, 1 in the button, 1 in the forefoot. The third end, Christine Skazlian tries the angle run for 2, hits it too thin, and gives Netherlands a steal of 1. In the fourth end, Magnus Nedregotten plays this triple of sorts, I guess, to score 1 after Marianne Neilman had made a nice tap to lie 1. Now we're back with fifth end action, and the first rock of the end thrown by Christine Skazlian. Now that I'm not tongue-tied, I can say Skazlian.
You have developed a lot with saying Scandinavian names during the week, Dean. I'm very proud of you.
Right, I did lose all credibility with that first pronunciation of Skazlian, but I'll earn it back here.
Well, it's not easy to know everything.
It really isn't. It's demanding.
Yes. Not the best angle for Norway on the first freeze. Marianne Neilman could find the inside of that. She will be looking good. They are 1 point up and with hammer. As in every game of curling, that's a comfortable position.
Marianne coming down after Christine Skazlian had bounced off a little bit. Certainly gives the Netherlands an opportunity.
Won't get the inside, but gets to nose. Rearranges the button a little bit. Magnus Nedregotten, this time throwing the burger position.
The
2,
burger,
3, and 4.
yes, we haven't discussed that in a little bit. We're still seeking names. You can do that. Some more suggestions on Twitter would be appreciated, because the best we've got so far is my burger and bun.
I don't think you want any other contributions. You just want yours to be the only one and the best one.
I really think it can be improved on dramatically. I'm not really a big fan of the burger and bun, but we haven't come up with anything else or received any better suggestions.
So as the burger throwing the in turn here, Magnus Nedregotten needs to find the pin, or at least stay on top of it, maybe in the forefoot, to leave themselves a useful stone.
Certainly when you don't have last rock in mixed doubles, closing down the scoring area is critical, and this will effectively do that. Really well played stone by Magnus Nedregotten. Who I think has played quite well the last couple games, making a lot of shots in either the burger or the bun position.
And maybe, like you've been talking about so many times, Dean, maybe like in Netherlands to peel the guard here, or just slash the red one in to open things up. They are in a bit of a mess.
Right, and without peeling the guard, or without running that guard in and rearranging the rings, they risk winding up with no shot to even score, I think. And running it in, certainly, you know, when you can open up the rings and open up the house and then go to work on the ones that are in the rings and force your opponent to try to cover a single shot rock with a guard, really opens up all kinds of possibilities. And this is certainly a well played shot, but they're still 2 shots away from moving that yellow. And now Norway will look to add another one to the pile.
Yeah, really the best shot Netherlands has is the red one on the right hand side. If they could slash that in, they could get both yellows moving. But if Norway put one there, they won't be able to.
Liten tapp på det. Ja, vi må kjøre innan. Jeg kan ikke kjøre noe særlig mer fart da. Vi må gå litt tight på garden.
Certainly a tight cluster around the button and in the forefoot.
Ja, jeg er enig.
Magnus wants to tap it a little bit to take away that slash for Netherlands. Need to come tight to the guard here.
They certainly don't want to move the guard, Norway. The guard is certainly helping them right now.
litt rolig med tappet. Vi må bare fryse, tror jeg.
Gjør det. Nå, god plass. Følg med. Oh. Oh. Ja! Ja! Hard! Hard! Hard!
Really curling now, and Magnus twirling
line,
to get
just-
by the guard.
The twirl might have saved him, and it's going to be a good shot. A good shot. Well, they might be able to get some action on the one on the button now, though. Magnus has the Rock Watcher stopwatch on his brush. We talked in one of our earlier broadcasts about mixed doubles being a field game, and we're not convinced you need to time as much as some of the teams might be.
Fractie meer?
Huh?
Fractie meer?
Slash is there. It's not going to be the easiest shot in the world. Mark Nailman needs to hit pretty much what he can see, which won't be a lot.
He can see probably a thin half from the hack, I would imagine, for a right-hander. They have a Dutch contingent in the stands here from at least 3/4 of his father's team competing in the World Seniors next door. Slight wobble, but he seems to have maintained it.
Hearts! Hearts! Oh. Yep, yep, yep. Oh.
And there it is. That Yellowstone exited the button easily.
Mr. Nailman makes a really good shot.
You can definitely call him Mister after that.
Do you need to make really good shots to be called a mister?
Absolutely. The Mr. moniker doesn't come easily. So suddenly Norway facing a challenging situation, and Magnus Nedergaarden, considering his options from the other end,
Litt mer shape, da.
he might be able to make two go away here if he hits that yellow. I'm not quite sure how they line up.
Ja,
It looks like he could.
Jeg må se en gang til her, bare for sikkerhets skyld.
Magnus going to come down and have a look just to make sure.
Jeg er litt usikker.
I'm not so sure if he doesn't feather off that
Vi får sannsynligvis fjernet to
the
her,
red
altså.
that's
Det er greit.
just touching the button on the left-hand side if he isn't able
Og da
to
har
make
vi
a
sånn
triple.
som vi sikter der på toppen av firfoten, så kanskje det er egentlig best det, altså.
Yeah, liking this.
Litt mindre.
I think it's certainly
Jeg skal sette den ganske brukbart der.
a safer call than the freeze, and the freeze is difficult. He has to basically get around a rock in the top four to make the perfect freeze.
Well, they were talking about actually the in-off of their own rather than the freeze to get it all the way into the button.
That's a very flat in-off. This shot, I think if he feathers the red stone that's just touching the button on the right-hand side, he might get all three. So he didn't throw the big weight. Sans a backswing there. No backswing, I think, with that one. That's some inadvertent French I just threw in there. He's going to move it far enough to lie 2-3.
Da ligger i hvert fall 2-3.
Not only do you understand Norwegian by now, you actually say what they're going to say before they say it.
Is that right?
Yeah, Magnus just came down and he said, well, we're lying 2 and 3.
Iets meer. Wijd is marge.
So they're going to guard this.
Guarding, even though they have last rock here. What do you think, sir? I wouldn't mind seeing them make a play on that yellow with the outturn.
No, neither would I. They could certainly move it and roll out to the side and certainly have 3 stones lying around, and that yellow on the left-hand side would be lonely.
Norway the red would be exposed, of course, and Norway could hit it to lie 2, but I imagine they're thinking if they guard here, they have a chance to draw full. They might have a chance to draw a full forfeit with their last for the deuce. Norway, however, should be able to beat them in after the guard with the in-turn.
Well, it's difficult for Norway to hide something behind the guard if they want to set shot.
Right.
Oh, oh. Okay.
Ja. Ja, gjør inn her.
Well, I think can they corner freeze right there? And if they are shot, I mean, they could touch the pin and be shot.
Farta er det viktigste. Så skal jeg hjelpe
Not easy for Christine Skazlian, but of course, even if she's short, as Magnus is noting, certainly makes a shot for two difficult. In fact, short might be the best shot. Although Marianne Nealman may still have the wide out-turn draw for two, if that's made.
And if they're short, they could also hit and roll and try and touch the forefoot for two.
That's true.
So there's going to be some sort of option. We're soon about to find out which one. First, Christine Skazlian need to play a good one here. Top 8 or top forefoot or even touching the button.
Magnus out to sweep. Both players on this one.
And it looks
might be really
really
good.
Close.
Wow, a fine shot.
Definitely couldn't have made it a lot better.
And now they might be ruining the guard choice that they made earlier.
En als ik hem in een backline, het risico wel dat hij weg is. Maar als de shooter gewoon blijft liggen hier. En die is ver genoeg weg. Ja? Backline?
I think I got backline. Try and leave our shooter right here. And push the yellow one back as much as possible. And well, I think that would leave them scoring maybe one.
It's difficult to see how they can score more than two here. And it's going to be take a very good shot to score one.
I definitely think that they can't score more than two.
That is dead right, I think. There's no three available.
I was wondering if you'd seen something that I haven't. So, tough shot to score one, really tough to score two. Marianne Nealman in the hack, on her way.
Probably doesn't look very good from the hack either, this shot.
No, it's fully buried, I believe.
Whoa, 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 close, yep.
Line suddenly better.
Really tight.
Really tight to the guard as they needed to be.
Oh, and he actually called her off and she rubbed on the other yellow.
Needed to get by that high yellow in the forefoot, just chopped off it. They need to sweep it beyond the guard.
It was a good attempt, but Norway will steal one, and we have a tied game.
A tie game after 5 ends, 3-3, and the Netherlands will carry the hammer into the 6th end. Should we give some updates on other sheets, Sarah?
Of course, Scotland has a 5-3 lead over Slovakia, and they also have hammer in the 5th end. Finland is 5-1 up on Latvia, playing the 5th end as well. Finally, Estonia is getting a big grip over England, leading that game 8-2.
Interestingly enough, the young English team doesn't have a win yet, but they do have one of the best draw shot scores. So they've secured the hammer in a lot of games, but haven't secured many victories. Christine Skazlian with her first. They're back to the using this 1-5 order with Christine throwing 1 and 5. So I guess they used last end as well, didn't they? And Christine made a terrific shot with her last to secure the steal of 1 for Norway.
Yeah, maybe feeling like you don't want to change a winning concept.
I would think that would guide you a bit if you were changing positions. Maria Nealman came very close to making her shot, though, in the last end, just rubbing on that guard.
Line's okay.
This rock has some curling to do,
Close.
but there will be a big finish, I think.
Yep.
As long as you're close on weight, you can almost always count on the line coming down.
That's a well-placed stone.
Så langt. Gå hit. Da må vi åpne gardene. Så vi garda til der. Har du noe der?
Saw our Twitter hashtag right there, WMDCC 2013. And a question for you, Dean. What do you think about the future of mixed doubles curling?
Well, apparently the World Curling Federation will be presenting this concept of mixed doubles curling to the International Olympic Committee after the 2014 Games for possible inclusion in future Olympics. And that question was posed to us by Ian Tetley, who lives in Oakville, Ontario, and used to curl for players like Wayne Middaugh and Al Hackner, a three-time world champion.
And we do know that you have some interesting takes on the game, like limiting the amount of guards that teams are about to throw, that teams are allowed to throw. Is there anything you would like to add to the game, maybe?
Well, I did have a question posed to me on my own Twitter account, and somebody wondered if it might make sense for, in mixed doubles play, to not require your teammate to be at the far end, beyond the hog line, like as it is now. So in other words, your sweeper could start with the thrower. The sweeper could start next to the thrower. It's certainly something I think that interesting to consider. Might make the communications a little more straightforward. And we'd have one sweeper on the stone right out of the thrower's hand.
Yeah, we have seen how important the communication is. We know that it's really important in traditional curling. But even here, there's just two of you out there. You really need to make sure you're on the same page.
Of course, we've all practiced, played practice games, or when sometimes just said you're going to throw a rock to the edge of the 8-foot or the edge of the 12-foot. So we might be able to, I think most of us could play without someone holding a broom at the other end. It might take a bit of getting used to, and some teams might not like it.
No, but then you would have the choice.
Exactly.
Trying to run this down will just make the straight peel and stick the stones on the bumper.
The foam bumper jump on that one, Mark Nealman did. I think I said Ian Tetley's a three-time world champion. It might be only two. Maybe he can send me a message and clear that up for me. I should know that. He's also married to Erica Brown Tetley, who was won the United States Women's Championship this year and competed at the Women's Worlds, where they lost the bronze medal game to Rachel Holman of Canada. Magnus Nedregotten with his first and his team's second. I had that wrong, didn't I? I was answering questions on Twitter and lost count.
I think Magnus has one stone left after this.
All right, so his second. I was right. 1990 with Ed Wernick. 1998 with Wayne Middaugh, and 1985 with Al Hackner.
So maybe with all that experience, if you ask us what we think about the future of mixed doubles curling, you might want to share your points of view on the game.
Well, I think if we look at it as a different discipline and don't try to compare it to traditional curling, it certainly has appeal. So I think anytime we in sport, when we see something new and different, it takes a while to adjust, but I think the real key is just not trying to compare it to traditional curling. And I think there are some players out there who this format might really appeal to. I know John Morris, 2010 gold medalist. He really likes this format and would like to play it. So I know this year the Canadian trials had created some conflicts for Canadian players, but I think there are a lot of players around the world that might like it. So we'll see how that develops. It certainly also provides a good opportunity for the developing curling countries to have players get world championship experience and have their teams compete at a higher level. So that certainly is a good benefit of it.
A good shot played by Mark Neilman is a bit unfortunate to actually leave a red shot stone, and well, he is playing red, of course, but that center guard enables Norway to draw around. Does open everything up in the forfeit though to leave them some room to score. Magnus will try and make it difficult with a good come around here. What do you think makes it appealing?
5-6.
Well, I think you know, certainly you can have some interesting angles set up, and I think there are some tactics that will prove interesting that have yet to be fully explored. So one of the things that appeals to me is just seeing how the game develops from a strategic point of view as people play it more, and as more players with who might like different kinds of shots start to play it. Oh, Christine Skazlian almost went down in the back there, just slept on the hack, but she's okay. Forgot the hack was there. That hack doesn't move throughout a game, even in mixed doubles. The hack remains stationary, doesn't it?
It would make for an exciting game if the hack would move every once in a while. You might get some exciting angles.
I know some other people have suggested to me with the mixed doubles format that perhaps the teams could have an option of where they place the guard, which might create corner guards early. So we could see some different setups of the placed stones.
Okay.
Hearts up.
Okay.
Girl. Swing.
This has plenty of pace, and that is not the formula that the Netherlands will want on that. That's going to slip through the back.
No, they had a chance to sit two there if Mark Neilman would have found a different line. Now pressure's back. Norway is the team applying it, of course.
We're looking at the easy slash there to conservative play. They'd sit two that way.
Må vi prøve å stjele den egentlig? Ok, kom her. Tapp den dit. Eller bare sånn. En stein.
Question is, do we want to steal or do we want to leave them scoring one?
Kan du ikke dra ut den, da?
Kan det?
Stoppe en kort, da, så er det greit da.
Ja. Ja, da gjør vi det. Enig. Jeg vil gjøre den. Du kan gjøre den nå. Halvtreff bare.
Nei, gjør det litt vanskelig for deg, eller? Hæ?
Guidninga.
Christine gets to pick the draw. She will play the out turn.
Had one last look at the slash as she slid away from the rings, but Magnus wondering if they could get enough action on the yellow to push it over closer to the center. They'd get some action, but they're going to play the draw. I'd like to see them just bite the button with this. Tuck a bit of it behind the rock that's in the top 8 foot. That would really apply some pressure to the Netherlands. Christine Skazlian.
Litt tight linje her, Brøven. Bak er vi.
Hæ?
Er vi? Det er tight ut. Kjemmen må smyge.
Oh, that's close to the guard.
Very close to the guard. They seem a little casual in how close it was to the guard.
Yeah,
but,
well, no one calling line. They were both sweeping for weight.
So their instincts told them it was by rather than their actual judgment.
Well, we've said that this is a game of feel and instinct, and it proved them right.
Exactly. So Marianne Neilman will have a challenging draw here with the placement of those yellow stones. She doesn't have a lot of house to work with. She only
think
needs
she's
full
trying to
4
tap
foot.
that down. Or otherwise it would look easier to draw the other side. Maybe
Well, I
not.
guess she thinks she can make the tap for 2. Got to push it quite a ways through the rings to score 2.
Well, even if she just pushes it too far and she rolls out, they would score 1.
With the in turn. Looks like she's throwing about, looks like about board or board. Which might be more weight than she envisioned. And that, I think, is going to sail by. Another steal of 1 for Norway as Norway goes on a bit of a stealing run here. Scandinavian thieves. I was thinking about Ian Tetley there. After 6 ends, it's Norway up 4-3 on the Netherlands.
And you were thinking about what?
Well, you played in the charity bonspiel last year in Toronto, did you not? The Curl for Kids? Oh, I thought you were in that. Okay.
Du får samme nå, så får jeg 4 centimeter mindre is.
So Norway has stolen now 2 ends in a row.
Yeah, a lot of 1s on the board for Norway. Turn this around into a lead. Do you want to update us on the other games?
Sure. On sheet C, we have Estonia up 8-4 on England. On sheet B, we have Finland up 5-2 on Latvia. And the important game on sheet A, Scotland is up 7-3 on Slovakia. Scotland will secure themselves a place free of tiebreakers and in the playoffs with a win there. Really nice weight here. Trying to finish it just a bit.
It's a good spot.
Go back.
Yep.
They seemed frustrated with that shot. I think it's quite a good one.
I agree with you. They do seem frustrated with it, and we've talked all week about the value of being a foot or 2 short versus chapping off or being heavy with that one. I think it's a good shot and makes, with your very first, you've made it difficult for Norway to score multiple points this end. But you're right, they didn't seem particularly thrilled with it.
Look at the swing on this.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of rotation on that stone as it came to the rings, and it really carved across.
It didn't really make for a perfect angle because now Norway can just tap this down. Move the one on the button.
Jeg trykker bitte litt da. Eventuelt bare fryse opp her. Ikke sant?
What have they settled on there, Sarah?
Freeze on top of this or push it down to the button just a little bit, not remove the backing too much.
I think that's a good play here. They don't really need to get rid of that red stone.
No, not yet. It's still very early in this end.
Magnus Nedregotten seems to be playing with a lot of confidence right now. I think his tournament accuracy comes up there, 73%. Sort of places him in the middle to the top of the rankings, but he, as this week has gone on, he seems to have been improving his play. And that's certainly a good stone.
Moet hij er echt tussenin liggen, anders hebben ze die natuurlijk.
Ja.
Dan moet hij echt heel perfect hier liggen. Zou wel lekker zijn.
I think the Netherlands has to make a play on it.
Speel maar.
Ja?
nog iets. Ja.
But they don't agree.
Not going to angle freeze it from the other side.
Iets meer.
The problem with the angle freeze is it will not allow them to run that in later either. There's their coach and their mother adjusting the camera.
She's bringing camera and nutrition. I'd say that's some quality coaching.
There's video, food. She's got the whole package. So they're going to try to corner freeze on the Yellowstone. That's just biting the button.
Mark and Neilman matching all in orange with that green glove. Put some color, some extra color into this. He's been at 75%, sixth amongst the male players.
That's a good number for a week of mixed doubles curling, I think, 75%.
Yeah, we actually see slightly higher numbers for Netherlands, but maybe some better results for Norway. Why do you think that is?
Well, I guess it might come down to shot selection. They do elect the more conservative to play the safer shot from time to time, and maybe aren't as intent or don't see how multiple point ends will develop as much. That's just a guess too, but what do you think of that analysis, Sarah?
I think you're absolutely right, and I think Norway might be playing a couple more, where Magnus, for example, a couple more runbacks and doubles, and Netherlands seem to maybe be guarding or drawing a bit more, which might leave them a higher percentage, but a lower score of points.
It's akin to the thing we see often at World Championships, where the lead on a team that is actually doesn't have a very good record, the lead will often have a higher percentage or be near the top in shooting percentage, because you tend to throw a lot of guards and corner guards when your team is down. So certainly if you're throwing a lot of guards and simpler shots, your percentages will be higher.
Litt mer is, Kristian. Litt til. Samme fart, litt løs. Jeg må gå.
Ja.
Den er linja.
Ja, ok, det.
Samme, jeg må gå.
Ok. Ja. Kjør.
Den er linja.
Sweeping this one hard.
Kom igjen. Hard, Ellen. Kom igjen. Kom igjen.
Not sure that changed the complexion of this all that much.
And yet another tricky tap.
Back four.
But I guess even if they would
Hetzelfde ijs.
be too wide here and hit their other red, it wouldn't line it up so good for Norway anymore.
Yeah, almost the split here is would work fairly well for the Netherlands, if they could hit about a half of their own and move the other red that's locked behind the Norwegian stone that's in the 8-foot.
Back four.
If they come to the face of it, they might be able to move the
Curlen.
yellow Norwegian stone that's biting the button.
Yep.
I don't know if that was a great result, though.
No.
I think they needed to either hit that thicker or go right by it. Now there's a tailor-made double here for Magnus Nedregatten. Anywhere on the inside here.
Dat zijn dan verpest in ieder geval de hoek een beetje van. Als één keer dat een beetje als een beetje uit de lengte.
Går jeg tapt for nå? Hvis vi bommer, så er vi der.
Ja, dat is wel lekker groot.
So the broom goes down.
Korrigerer derfra.
Yep, saying if they're going to miss it, he wants to miss it tight and hit the other reds.
So his ice is tight. Canadian coach Jim Waite suggested to me last night that the rocks do not curl as much with big weight as we sometimes see, or curl a little bit more, actually, I'm sorry, with big weight than he's seen at other events. He's on the inside, I think. Oh, that
is an unfortunate break.
I think he may have aired a little too much to the inside, because he certainly didn't want to spill that red right to where it spilled to. See how aggressive the Netherlands are here.
And Netherlands with 2 stones to play, Norway with 1.
They can certainly hit the red thin enough to spill the yellow, far enough to leave themselves in a good position.
En als je die tikt, hier blijft liggen, kunnen zij hem dan...
Ja, het probleem is als je hem recht op zijn neus doet,
Ja.
dan lijn je hem misschien op voor ze.
Ja.
Aan de andere kant kunnen ze dan 2 wegspelen. Dan heb je daarna die met je laatste voor 3 of voor 2.
Ja.
Misschien niet slecht. Dan ben je die dadelijk kwijt en die dadelijk kwijt. Maar goed, dat is niet zo erg. Als we deze hier houden.
There's the Dutch contingent in the stands. Part of them anyways. 2 of them.
Wat had je net?
Ik stond net hier.
Fractie minder dan? Deze een kopje minder? Ja. Hetzelfde steen.
So they're not. Are they just playing the tap, I think?
They are just playing the tap, trying to move the yellow to the side a little bit.
I think they can throw with enough weight to move the yellow exposed on the other side. And maybe we'll wind up lying 3, but that looks like a lot of ice.
Yeah, well, we have seen a lot of curl from Mark Neilman.
Lengte is oké. Top 4, T-line.
Okay.
T-line.
No, just throwing T-line.
Back 4.
Oh.
Or back 4. Just translating as we go along here.
Ja, maar hij moet nog spelen.
Change. Well, I think they're still just lying 1. I think with a bit more weight there, he could have really sprung the yellow open. Might have left, if he'd done that, however, though, might have left Norway with a simple freeze to steal or take away the end.
Det vanskeligere stein, da.
Ja, men altså, ok da.
Han får 2 hvis at vi gjør det her nå. Det må vi bare gi ham,
Men det går an å gi bort 2, da.
Ja, jeg er enig. Jeg synes du skal gi bort 2, jeg.
Kan du ikke prøve på den, da? Hvis det er heldig, så ligger vi faktisk...
And Norway could get to the face of that red and sit 2 both in the top 4 foot and make it tough for the Netherlands to score.
Hva vil du? Jeg vil den. Og treffe der. Halvtreff der sånn.
They're talking about playing the double here to just give up 2.
Her vinner vi kampen. Hvis vi gjør den, så
Do you think that intern is available, Sarah?
Yeah, maybe. I think... Well, it looks difficult for them to tap out the yellow, so I don't think the risk is really too big. Magnus just said, if we make this and give up 2, we're going to win the game.
So they figure that if they are down 1 with hammer, playing the 8th, they'll get the deuce they need. Last night we saw them get 3 to win the game, so maybe they're buoyed by that result. Not Christine Skoslian's best delivery, but it's on the way, and it is out there. And Magnus has left the rings.
Now question, what has Marianne Neelman got?
Die spelen?
There is a shot there, I think,
Anders moet je
to
die spelen.
Ja,
score multiple
Uit
points.
bijna weer maar eentje.
They're looking at the simple tap.
kan niet echt iets misgaan, hè?
I'd like to see them get a little bit bold and maybe try the in-off to squeeze out the yellow.
Yeah, the red and the 8-foot that is higher certainly seems like they would get at least 2 if they just touch the red of theirs that's just biting the button. And if they hit it hard enough, they certainly can have a 4 or 5.
Normaal?
4.
He's saying normal. I'd like to see them throw a bit more.
Are they playing the in-off, or are they playing the...
They are playing the in-off, but just with normal.
That looks like a lot of ice for normal, doesn't it?
Yes, but it is a big curl from the inside out, we've seen.
You're right, you have pointed that out in previous webcasts, that often teams are fooled by the amount of curls from inside out because they don't see that path often throughout the game.
I'm just thinking if they're not playing this the right way.
Yeah, the outturn also seems problematic to me, but let's see. Maybe they'll just prove us all wrong here, Sarah. They got the ice right, the weight right, and they got 4 points. 3. Well done.
Well,
They knew
they had
exactly
us
what they
fooled.
were doing.
Great shot by Marianne Neelman, and a 3 for Netherlands to take a 2-point lead into the final end. What a nail biter we're getting here.
Big comeback here with that shot. Marianne Neelman's made a couple of nice ones.
And talking about comebacks, Slovakia scored 3 in the 7th end against Scotland to tie that game up before the final end. Score is now 7-7, playing the 8th, Scotland with hammer. Finland has a 2-point lead over Latvia, 5 shots to 3. They are in the 7th end, and Finland has hammer over there. Finally, Estonia is leading the game over England, 8 shots to 6, having the hammer in the final end.
So, Magnus Nedregatten thought that if they gave up 2 in the last end, they would win the game. I'm not sure if he was as confident they would win the game if they gave up 3. So
they did win in this scenario yesterday.
they did against Scotland, handing Scotland their first loss. We'll see how the Netherlands play this. See if they look for an opportunity to hit when they can.
Would you be looking for an opportunity to hit?
Well, down 2 in mixed doubles. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I think if I had a chance to limit the damage to no more than 2, I would hit. And like my chances in an extra end. But of course, in mixed doubles, you can take away an end entirely with a good freeze or a good top. This rock has some curling to do. Now, the Netherlands certainly has an opportunity to settle into that pocket. That ice technician Jamie Barras on the left there, on the behind the sheet that's not being used.
Getting the feel of what it would be like to be a coach.
Perhaps he is.
With neither penguins or nutrition.
Nothing in front of him on that table. Here comes Mark Neelman. If he can lock one in here, Norway is going to have to struggle to score the deuce that they need. Looks close.
Looks really close, and it's really good.
It's a really good shot. The small chop to sit right on top of the placed yellow stone. Great shot by Mark Neilman.
See the time clocks there. Norway with just about 4 minutes to go. The Netherlands with 5.5 minutes. Both teams should be fine with that amount of time, I believe. And we did see Norway score big after they looked like they were in trouble yesterday.
That's true, so they know how to do this.
Trying to find right in between here and pushing them to the side is certainly a good start.
Yeah, and that's a really well-played shot by Magnus Nedregård. It may not look perfect yet. He's looking at it quizzically, but it certainly rearranges the house in a way that's good.
Yeah, and hits are allowed now, but Mark Neilman played the perfect freeze with his previous stone. He's going to do it again. Norway right now sitting 2. 2 is what they need for the extra end.
No, the Netherlands
No,
are
the
sitting
Netherlands
two.
are sitting 2.
And that is not what Norway needs for the extra end.
No, you're absolutely right, of course. As always.
No, that's usually the error I would make, Sarah, so that's...
Well, you're welcome then,
I'm
if it
shocked
makes
that
you
I
feel
could-
more
yeah,
comfortable.
I'm shocked that I could catch that. So here comes Mark Neilman. He made a great freeze in his last. Let's see what he does here.
Line spot alleen lengte. Hou.
Bijna hetzelfde. Die lijn.
Hou. Hou.
Iets harder. Back voor.
Yep. Yep, 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 yep.
Doesn't curl up as much.
Iets schuiner raak. Het is iets meer naar binnen.
Ja.
Not the quality result he had on his first, but still creates some problems for Norway.
Nee.
Jeg ser litt på innsida, den røde.
Ja, men da får de ding, da.
OK, backline.
Kjappen er best.
Er den med?
Du må jo prøve å få flytta litt på meg her.
OK, prøver vi det. Litt mer is. Vi kan ikke gå så hardt.
Here's an instance where I think it would benefit Magnus to have a good look at this house.
Yeah, definitely. They seem more stressed about the time than about what they actually need to throw.
They have 3 minutes left, and they still have a timeout or a coach's moment to use. And the house is certainly looking better for Norway right now.
Definitely.
Ja, så er det. Prøver å ligge 4 etter neste. Jeg fulgte med det.
Magnus just said, let's try and sit 4 after the next one. That's certainly possible, and it is. This is what happens when you don't elect the hit when you're allowed to. Now it's almost
Ja.
too late for Netherlands to start hitting.
Deze kant.
That's an excellent point. It seems as though if you miss the opportunity to hit, by the time you have your very next one, you're down to freezing for your life.
Meer ijs, Marjan. Veel meer ijs. Nog meer. Ja.
Mark Neilman takes a breath. Big shot here. Momentum has shifted. Mark Neilman shifts a bit in that delivery.
8.
Hou.
Oh,
Hou
4.
lijn.
4.
Hou lijn.
Lengte is oké.
Hou lijn. Nu hier. Yep. Yep. Yep.
I don't think Norway can sit 4 after their next. Question is, how much can Magnus see of the stone just played by Mark?
Vi må spille
Not
hardt.
much for a right-hander, especially from the hack, but he can see a lot of this one. That one, Magnus did stay down there, and I think that was a wise decision.
Yeah, saves them time sitting and yelling at each other from the hack in the house here. Now he knows.
Big backswing. An extension.
Curl. Curl.
Well, he was hoping to stick that one back there. Cut it a little too thin. But he does spill the other one out the side. So Norway is lying 2-3-4.
Ja.
I think if Marianne Neilman can make a hit and roll here, they will at least be looking at an extra end, maybe.
I mean, the Netherlands counter is really buried behind that centerline guard. I think the hit is a great play.
Ja. Hier?
Ja. Ja, hoger mag ook.
Is goed.
But I think they're going to elect a guard.
A good guard could win a game for them right here.
It's true, the good guard. I'm not sure what Norway will have left to try to score two.
Maybe want to bury a little bit of it and make sure that they're overlapped a bit.
Take away the run back.
Yeah, if she leaves the double, they could lose the game.
That's absolutely true.
Drie.
Clean.
Drie.
Wow, lijn. Waar is die man?
3-12.
They are going to tuck just a bit of it.
Super.
Her brother Mark likes it. I'm not sure how the Norwegians get to that shot stone.
I think Magnus.
He's thinking it'll finish enough with hack to be able to push it through, which it might. It is a high guard. Actually, have to be more concerned, I think, with negotiating the guard that Marianne Neilman just placed there. Doesn't curl up enough, though. Of course, they'll jam it on that yellow. Christine Skazlian with her last, possibly the last shot of the game. It looks like a lot more than hack. And that sounds like a concession. And a big celebration for the Netherlands as they will secure a place in the playoffs with that win. There will be, and we also have to update the other score, the big turnaround on sheet A, where Scotland lost to Slovakia 9-7 after being fully in control of that game. So now Scotland has 2 losses. We're going to do some quick tallying here. Sarah's.
Now we have 4 teams on 6 and 2. I believe we're going to see some tiebreakers.
Yeah, nobody directly in there, but 4 teams at 6 and 2 means 4 teams are still in the mix. Scotland missed their opportunity to get clear of the field with a win, as did Norway. So Sarah is going to go down and speak with the winning Netherlands team. Perhaps the biggest win in the history of Dutch curling right here. She's going to go down and speak with them, and I will have a recap of the game we just saw. Here's a recap of the game we just saw between the Netherlands and Norway. Fifth end, Christine van Skaslien had made a great shot to lie one for Norway, leaving Marianne Neilman with a difficult shot to try to score two. She just grazed the high yellow stone. It was a steal of one for Norway. In the sixth end, Marianne Neilman facing another difficult house. She's trying to draw for one. Draw is slightly heavy, and it's another steal of Norway for Norway in the sixth. They took that lead into the seventh end. Up one. When Marianne Neilman facing this, multiple red stones in the ring, she throws an in off, comes off nicely, spills the yellow out to sit three. So a big three for the Dutch in the seventh end. In the eighth end, Netherlands lying one, well buried. Christine van Skaslien trying a hack weight top. A little strong, didn't curl up. And it's a steal of one for the Netherlands and a big victory here in the C group over Norway. So our next matchup that you'll see here will be the Czech versus France. Czech Republic versus France, and that's coming up at, that will be at 5:45. Sarah's going to have our interview shortly.
Congratulations on a great win. This was a really crucial game. How did you handle any nerves before you got out there today?
Well, it was difficult. I was really nervous, but I just took my time in the hack, took a deep breath before every shot and tried to relax and focus on what I had to do at that point in time. So, and we managed. So, still shaking a little, adrenaline is rushing, but yeah, we got it.
Great. What's going to be your focus now as you move on in the competition?
I think we just keep playing like we did today, because like I said before the game to my brother, we have nothing to lose, we can only win. We already came so far and we didn't expect to come this far, so we can only win and we don't have anything to lose, so just keep playing.
So what's going to be your main goal now?
Take a rest, have something to eat, and then yeah, make sure we're rested for tomorrow, and then try and pick up the game again, the level, and start making shots again tomorrow.
Well, great. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.